Now from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Sunday morning.
People are desperate for food and water after Hurricane Michael left them with nearly nothing.
The aftermath is what gets you, because you gotta survive the rest of this.
The new signs of desperation in Florida's Panhandle and the remarkable survival of a man who ignored evacuation orders and rode out the storm in his home.
I want to give you a live look outside from our Charlotte camera there. It is a clear morning and very cool outside. You can see we're in the 50s. Good morning, I'm Blaine Tollison.
And I'm Kristen Lee. You can see the lights are back on clearly throughout most of Charlotte. That's the good news this morning. We want to send things right over to meteorologist Jacqueline Shear with the cooler temps today.
Hey, you know what? You guys were asking me for weeks, I feel like, for cooler temperatures. Here they are. I brought them to you.
Finally.
It's even cooler today. Yeah, you know, it will be in the mid-60s today, so well below average and well below even where we were yesterday. Take a look at some of these temperatures as you're waking up. 55 degrees in Charlotte, 53 in Shelby. We are in the mid-40s in the high country right now, so a gorgeous start to the day. It'll be a nice, crisp fall day out there. We will be, again, below average, 66 degrees. There is a very slight shower chance, but really just a few raindrops here and there, and then it is out of our hair. That's about the whole story for today. Over the next few days, though, those rain chances climb. So do those temperatures. We'll track that beginning of the work week coming up in just a few minutes.
Channel 9 was the only local station on scene of breaking news overnight. Come to your screen, look at this. A truck slammed right through the front of this apartment building. You can see it looks like the pickup truck crashed through two front doors. This is at the Towns at University Point apartment homes. That's off North Tryon in Northeast Charlotte. It happened a little more than 2 hours ago. We are working to get more information on this crash right now. We're trying to find out if anyone was hurt, how this happened, and if someone was home. We will update you as soon as we learn anything new. This morning, relief efforts like this will resume in Florida's Panhandle. Tens of thousands of people are depending on this free food and water to survive after Hurricane Michael.
Yeah, many of those people lost their homes and belongings, and some got separated from their pets or had to leave them behind when they evacuated. ABC's Janae Norman shows us the shelter that's stepping in to help and some new images of devastation Michael left behind.
The massive cleanup and search and rescue efforts underway after Hurricane Michael made landfall here in Mexico Beach. These before and after images show the extent of the devastation. Entire neighborhoods leveled.
Everybody we know lost their house. Everybody. And our jobs.
It's a devastation. It's like a bomb just went off here.
Further inland, Gail Sweet lost her husband when a tree fell on their home. The storm preventing first responders from getting there in time.
It was just like a freight train coming at us. Got me out, but he was already gone by the time I got here.
In Panama City, crews going door to door looking for anyone who may be trapped in the rubble.
We were just surprised by the sheer damage. This type of destruction, you know, we haven't seen since I was a kid, and that was Hurricane Andrew. This is pretty extensive.
John Pandolo ignored evacuation orders, the hurricane destroying his family's home as he and his dog took shelter in a bedroom closet.
I was just like this, me and the dog. I was right here, sitting just like this, and the dog was right here, and she would not leave my side and she would not move.
Efforts also underway to save animals affected by the storm. Power outages and lack of clean water creating unhealthy conditions requiring evacuation from this animal shelter in Panama City. The furry victims brought to safety with help from another shelter nearly 3 hours away.
Good boy.
Taking them somewhere safe in the hopes of finding new forever homes. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
We have some more new video to show you this morning of chaos in the aftermath. People caught on camera looting in Panama City at a convenience store. You can see the front door shattered here. There were two men inside. They said that they were friends of the owner and they took off with a backpack full of food. And in another part of town, a deadly shooting. Witnesses say a man got shot after trying to steal an emergency responder's vehicle.
He yelled at me a little bit. He said, "Oh, I'm looting," and he opened the door to the police officer's SUV with the lights going, got in it, shut the door.
Authorities say state fire marshals were involved in the shooting, and Florida's Department of Law Enforcement is investigating. And we are still getting images out of Florida following Hurricane Michael, and you can see all that devastation. And we have more on the storm coverage on WSOCTV.com.
Here in the Carolinas, power is steadily returning to homes. Just a couple of days ago, much of this map on your screen was red or orange. This morning, just 2 counties are still red. You can see some of Rowan County remains in the dark with more than 5,200 outages. And Mecklenburg County is down to 3,800 outages from 13,000 this time yesterday. On Duke's outage map, they are pledging to get power back to everyone in our area by tomorrow night. We spoke with Duke yesterday. A spokesperson tells us this storm was far worse than they anticipated.
We were projecting about 500,000 outages. We more than doubled that. And if you think about Thursday with the winds blowing through and then hitting nighttime, we couldn't even start the response until Friday. Thank you to everyone for their patience. We're working as hard as we can, and if your house isn't already restored, it will be soon.
And Duke Energy is not alone here. Crews from other states are in the Carolinas to help. A 40-man crew from Ohio arrived on Friday. They're working near the Greensboro area to get the lights back on. That area has more outages right now than any other part of the state. One of the crew members tells us a lot of the linemen were just here last month after Hurricane Florence.
All the guys that are here actually volunteered to be here, so they made the sacrifice to be away from their families and work long hours just to come down here to help out.
Trevor Lavey says his coworkers plan to stay for a few more days before returning home.
It is 7:05. Family and friends plan to celebrate the life of 19-year-old Cody Simpson. The sheriff's office identified the teen yesterday. Students at Piedmont High found Simpson behind Union County High School football field on Friday. The sheriff's office says there were no signs of foul play. A medical examiner also conducted an autopsy to find out how Simpson died.
It's going to be a period of time before we get toxicology results back and that sort of thing to help determine exactly what may have caused his death.
And Channel 9 spoke to Simpson's grandmother. She says the family appreciates all the prayers and support they've received from the community. Simpson's celebration of life is set for Tuesday at Marshville City Cemetery.
This North Carolina pastor who was held in custody in Turkey for the last 2 years is finally back on American soil. President Trump welcomed Andrew Brunson and his wife to the White House yesterday. Finally reunited, the husband and wife say they feel humbled by the support they've received.
We especially want to thank the administration. You really fought for us.
Brunson is originally from Black Mountain, North Carolina. A Turkish court sentenced him to 3 years in prison, claiming he plotted a coup against the president of Turkey. But they released him Friday because he'd already served time. President Trump called for Brunson's release earlier this year and even placed sanctions on Turkey. U.S. officials say the two governments negotiated lifting sanctions for his release. The president posted on Twitter about the release, too. It reads in part, "There was no deal made with Turkey for the release and return of Pastor Andrew Brunson. I don't make deals for hostages."
New this morning, North Carolina's top Republicans say they're ready to assign $794 million to Hurricane Florence recovery. House Speaker Tim Moore and Senate Leader Phil Berger worked together on the relief plan. Most of the money is going to come from the state's rainy day reserves, and the General Assembly could approve the plan as early as tomorrow. The plan falls very far short of Governor Cooper's requests for $1.5 billion for relief.
We are 2 months into the school year, but the Cleveland County School District is having trouble finding bus drivers. According to our partners at the Shelby Star, the district has about a dozen openings. Right now, other employees are covering those bus routes. This is an ongoing issue in our communities. We told you last week CMS is still short 67 drivers. The shortages caused students to be late to school and late getting home from school. Last Monday, district officials announced a pay raise to $15 an hour. They hope that will draw more people to apply. After the district announced those raises, teachers' assistants complained to Channel 9. They're upset because they'll now make nearly $3 an hour less than the drivers. Education reporter Elsa Gillis questioned the district about whether there is a raise in the future for TAs, too.
They give their heart and soul. They work just as hard.
This Charlotte resident is a former teacher assistant herself from a private school and knows what it entails.
It's a full-day job. You're on your feet all day, and and I think that they deserve more.
According to this job description for a K-3 teaching assistant in CMS, essential duties include supervising students, preparing lesson materials, assisting with correcting papers and testing, and the list goes on. In Charlotte-Mecklenburg Public Schools, the starting rate for a teacher assistant is $12.13 an hour. That's almost $3 less than the new starting pay for a bus driver, which is $15 an hour. According to CMS, the state raised the minimum rate to $15 for all state employees who are paid hourly, but school district hourly employees were excluded. CMS board member Elise Dashew told me she was happy to hear of the bus driver raise, but recognizes the frustration from other employees.
Our teacher assistants are so valuable. The work they do is so valuable.
She told me she'd bring it up in future budget talks.
I would love for us to be able to find the money to pay them better as well. The next steps as we build the next budget would be to either go to the county or go to the state, or if we can, sometimes we can find the money internally, but that has to come from somewhere.
Elsa Gillis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
CMS set aside more money for drivers by shifting around funds in the transportation budget. Dashew says she doesn't know if they can do that for teachers' assistants. She hopes the state legislature will help fund an increase.
It is 7:10. We're taking a live look outside from our Charlotte camera. We can see a little bit more light coming into this picture, and it is cool outside. Meteorologist Jacqueline Shearer is updating your forecast for this Sunday morning. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Good morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a really beautiful sunrise over the next hour or so, within the next really 20 to 30 minutes. So you might want to peek outside and take a look. But if you're headed out with that morning cup of coffee, don't forget your sweater or your jacket. It's going to be chilly out there all through the morning. In fact, we only get to 66 degrees today. As we move into the afternoon, 65 degrees by 4 p.m. Already starting to see things cooling down by then. We'll also see a quick chance for a shower or two. Doesn't look like it'll be much, though. In fact, it probably won't impact your plans at all. We'll be tracking when we'll start to see more of that rain working its way into the forecast. Plus, I will have your neighborhood forecast for Albemarle and Hickory coming up when I see you next.
Outrage against local government leaders at 7:45. The mistake that Matthews residents are calling unacceptable.
Cracking down on a crime spree spread across the Carolinas.
This could be it. This could be the piece of information that solves the case.
Ahead at 7:30, an exclusive Channel 9 look at the work that's been happening in this federal facility that's helping police solve crimes.
Like us on Facebook to follow the latest breaking news, top stories, and weather. To join in on the conversation, log on to WSOCTV.com and click on the Facebook icon at the top of the page.